I never thought this game would attract so much attention. Being labeled by the community Pokemon with Guns, Palworld has taken over social media and sales with over 6 million copies in just 4 days. I've heard of this game for almost a year now, and towards the start of the calendar year, I made a video of the games I was excited about. And I almost excluded Palworld from my list because I didn't think there was or would be enough buzz about it. And literally, the week prior to Palworld's release, all of a sudden, people all over social media going crazy about it. Whether it's about the use of AI, asset flipping from Pokemon, the guns, the oddly weird morality choices you can do with these cute little creatures, or just how oddly fun this game is. This video will be slightly different from the past videos I've done, since I'll also address the two main allegations that I've been seeing around the internet, and as well with all the good and the bad things about this game. So, is Palworld just Pokemon, but with guns? Palworld is first and foremost a survival game. You're dumped into the world, and as it is in other survival games like Minecraft, you survive. And that's pretty much all there is to it. There's no overarching story, no interesting characters, no plot, and no Professor Oak telling you to complete the PAL deck. You just do whatever you think is important, and if that's capturing all PALs and humans, beating the 5 NPC bosses, beating all the boss PALs, having the most efficient base, building the Empire State Building, or even all of the above. It's whatever you want to do, as it is in other survival games such as Minecraft or even LEGO Fortnite. Chances are you heard of this game through people saying that AI was being used as concept art or even blatantly copying Pokemon. One, Pokemon had at least a year to even sue this game, and still can right now if they wanted to. I personally don't think there are enough Pokemon things for them to legally sue them for, and if they could, they would have done so already. The phrase Pokemon with guns is something that the community has labeled Palworld as. I know for a fact that you cannot advertise your own game as Pokemon with guns, because Nintendo's lawyers will be speaking with you because you use the word Pokemon in your ads. I also need to mention that I love Pokemon. My favorite game of all time is Pokemon Black. But you also have to know there are over 1,000 Pokemon in the franchise. They even have a keychain as a Pokemon. So can you really blame a company that's doing a creature collector game to have something similar to an existing Pokemon? I mean, there's only so much variation that you can do that is still has a simple design. And also, sometimes a sheep is sometimes just a sheep. Pokemon does not own the sheep that you can find in Kansas. I will admit though, there are a handful of pals that do very similar to Game Freak's more creative Pokemon such as Cobalion and Fanglope, but that's only like a handful of them. All of these arguments of asset flipping or copying designs can be said with any creature collector game. Pokemon does not own the creature collector genre like how Call of Duty does not own the first-person shooter genre. Another thing that was being passed around was that Palworld uses AI for concept art, I believe, or something to that extent. As of the release of this video, there is no hard evidence of AI being used, and I don't think AI is to the level where it can create 3D models on Blender. If AI was being used to create concept art, then take that and make it into a 3D model, then create animations for it, then I could see why people could be mad. But it's only being used for concept art, which then turns into 3D models by actual humans. Is that bad? Like, I don't see how the use of AI for concept art is bad, because you still need actual humans to create the actual model. AI won't take the jobs of all concept artists. Whoever does like the concept art for Pokemon trainers are amazing. The Hatsune Miku crossover was a great example. For very specific pieces of creative work, you can still have human concept artists. And if you're trying to see like a bunch of variations of simple creature designs, I think you can have AI to help you with that. But yeah, that's my stance on like those two specific controversies. Palworld uses Unreal Engine 5, and so it actually looks pretty good. I really like how the lighting is, especially during at night. I was on max graphics settings, but the draw distance is really good. When you travel pretty far, you can look back and be amazed at how far you travel. And I'm pretty sure this is all made efficiently because of Unreal Engine 5. And also, why it can look like Fortnite at times. I really like how the world is. The characters, on the other hand, not the greatest. There are not really that many notable characters, and they look alright, I guess. I just don't think there's enough notable characters that I expected for a game like this. This game is called Palworld, so it's all about the pals. Say what you think whether the pals are blatant copies of Pokemon, but the animations of these guys, wow, they're really good, and the devs put a lot of effort into these guys, especially when they're working hard at your camp. Chances are the first thing you do when you load into the world for the first time, you'll beat up a chicken with your bare hands. Then be surprised that you killed, quote-unquote, a Pokemon. Then you start kicking its dead body around. Yes, you can murder these pals. You can capture pals as well and have them work on tasks at your own base. And this would include watering plants, building structures, tending the furnace, crafting items, etc. Depending on what the pals specialize, like watering, lumbering, or whatever, those are the tasks that they are able to do at your camp. You can also have your pals follow you around, help you explore and attack other pals, or even humans. Catching a whole variety of pals will help you begin to do a variety of tasks and help you cover weaknesses when you do decide to fight powerful pals out in the wild. As you level up, in which the best way to level up from my experience is just capturing more pals, even if you already caught one before, you gain access to more items and more structures, such as breeding farms, gliders, grapplers, workbenches, and even weapons like rocket launchers. Yes, you heard that right, rocket launchers. You can use these on pals and humans if you really wanted to. It's weird when you associate it with Pokemon that you're murdering them, but let's be real, you do the same thing in other games like Call of Duty or something like Monster Hunter. We just associate any creature collector game to Pokemon, so we only think of Pokemon when there's an element of capturing creatures. Anyways, yeah, so you can craft guns for yourself, and there are even ways to even have your pals wield these weapons too, which I think is pretty funny. You can do all of this solo or even with a group of friends, which I believe can go up to 32 players, which is pretty crazy to me. Then I'm reminded it's a survival game, so that is pretty normal to see. All in all, the loop is very enjoyable in catching all the pals and just exploring the world and seeing some crazy bosses that are just stepping stones towards being the very best there ever was. Being actively engaged in combat in an almost Souls-like style rather than being confined to a turn-based system was actually refreshing. There's a reason why so many people love the game. It's different from what you typically see, and it's very, very fun and very, very rewarding. Even though I had a lot of fun playing Palworld, it is still a flawed game. The world itself is very big and it looks very nice, but it's just one single world. It's not a procedurally generated world, meaning every time you create a new world, it's going to be the exact same world every time. I don't really want to essentially start over in the exact world if I do decide to start a new world with someone, because then it feels like I'm just retracing my steps, especially for a survival game. Minecraft does it very well, where each new world feels unique, and where at least for the first few hours of exploring, can be very fun before you get into like the grind of mining or whatever. I don't think I'll ever start a new world until they add procedurally generated worlds, but I'm not too sure if that's something that they plan on doing. Another thing is the AI pathing and behavior for both pals and human NPCs. The human NPC especially often just gets stuck in walls, making any fight with them very, very easy due to them just being unable to fight back. Same thing with wild pals, but not to the extent of human NPCs. The pals suffer from just being stuck into the ground or on top of structures of your base, so they can't get to their task to work. Which is a problem for especially when you have a lot of pals working for you at one point, where you just don't look at every single one of your pals to make sure that they're working. You just assume that they're doing their task, and you really only notice that when they're stuck when you put stones in a crusher for fragments, and you come back the next day and see not a single one has been made. This seems like a relatively easy fix and not a design flaw, so I'm not too worried about that. The climbing in this game is horrendous. It's very similar to Breath of the Wild, where you just jump onto any wall and you can climb it. But in Palworld, it's just very frustrating. When I grapple onto a wall, I fall for a bit before I actually climb, which annoyed me a lot. The animation also feels very stiff when like wall jumping, and at least from my experience, I don't always grab the ledge of a cliff when I expect it to, and it's very frustrating when I climb like the gray area of is this climbable or walkable, and I just end up sliding, and sometimes results in sliding off a cliff. I know you can just fly around on a pal and not climb at all, but I really do think they need to fix all like the glaring issues with climbing. I'm pretty sure Genshin Impact has better climbing than Palworld, and Genshin also took a page off of Breath of the Wild's book. Palworld is very fun and very addicting. Catching them all is just a very addicting thing to do, even if it's not a property of Nintendo. This, tied with survival elements, makes it feel more personal as a player when I murder or get murdered by, let's say, King Paka. It's great with friends, it's great by yourself, there's tons to catch, tons to craft, tons to experiment with. I mean, if you haven't tried it, then you should absolutely try it. Palworld is not Pokemon with guns, but by saying that, you neglect the whole survival aspect of Palworld, and that encapsulates the majority of what Palworld really is. Palworld is first and foremost a survival game with a creature collector system that aids the player in surviving in the world. No matter whether you love or hate the existence of the game, you cannot deny the impacts this game has on society. There are people using Palworld as fuel for their political standpoint towards AI, hardcore Pokemon fans defending Pokemon, which ironically am a Pokemon hardcore fan, but I'm 100% fine with Palworld existing. And the other 6 million players who played this game are definitely having fun with it. All eyes are now on Game Freak to maybe actually realize that they should probably not be complacent in their future Pokemon titles, because, let's be real, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet was not that good, and 100% should have been a much more polished and grander game. But with no competition, Game Freak has been pretty okay with releasing half-baked Pokemon games in the past decade. Hopefully, because of Palworld and its trigger-happy pals, maybe we can get a decent Pokemon game that us Pokemon fans deserve. Thank you for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe to this video if you like this type of content. I do have plans for Pokemon related videos soon, if that's something that you're interested in. And if you have any suggestions or any game that you want me to play, you can leave a comment down below or come join the Discord in the link below that I am active in. See you guys later.